This is the CBS Evening News. Bob Schieffer reporting. Good evening. There was a major development out of El Salvador tonight. El Salvador's President Cristiani has put some of the top military men under his command in custody and says they are the main suspects in the November killings of 6 Jesuit priests. Those atrocities, of course, have put the whole U.S. assistance program to the Central American country in jeopardy. And we're beginning our coverage tonight with Richard Schlesinger in New York.
The murder of the priests, their housekeeper, and her daughter seemed like a throwback to the old days in El Salvador, when death squad murders shocked Americans and threatened to cut off U.S. aid. As soon as the bodies were discovered, suspicion centered on the Army.
Coronel Guillermo Alfredo Benavides Moreno.
But President Cristiani's announcement today was surprising nonetheless, because he named some stars of the Salvadoran military. He implicated 9 soldiers in all, including a colonel, 3 lieutenants, and 5 others. The colonel is Guillermo Alfredo Benavides, the director of El Salvador's military academy. The 3 lieutenants are members of an elite American-trained infantry battalion. 8 of the 9 men named today are under arrest. 1 soldier deserted from the army and is now a fugitive. President Cristiani was under considerable pressure from the American government to solve this crime. His party has been associated in the past with the death squads. Cristiani announced earlier this week that the military was involved in the killings, but this is the first time a colonel has been accused of such a crime in El Salvador. The accusation has reportedly set off a debate inside the Salvadoran military about how the prosecution should proceed. In his speech today, President Cristiani said it is now up to the courts to determine if the men are guilty or innocent. But the Salvadoran court system has never convicted a military officer of human rights abuses, even though the army has long been suspected of carrying out or tolerating political murder. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, New York.
Our State Department correspondent Bill Plant joins us now from our Washington studios. Bill, I take it this announcement came at a very timely juncture for President Cristiani.
That's right, Bob. He has a very compelling reason now for trying to bring these murders to justice. The President Cristiani is planning to visit Washington early this coming week, and you know, unless he can resolve these murders, Congress is really not likely to continue to fund the aid for El Salvador, which runs at an enormous rate. It's over $1 million a day. And unless these murders are vigorously prosecuted, members of Congress have made it very evident that there won't be any new money for El Salvador in the new foreign aid bill.
Well, how much impact do you think this announcement will have? Will this clear the way now, and will Congress be much more receptive to President Cristiani's demands?
Well, Bob, as dramatic as Cristiani's announcement was, there are still likely to be some serious problems with the aid unless there are clear signals that the 8 men who are in custody will actually be prosecuted. It's one thing, after all, to charge them, but it's entirely another to conduct a serious trial, which could result in convictions. In the 10 years that the political murders have been taking place down in El Salvador, very few officers have been charged with anything, and no member of the armed forces above the rank of corporal has ever been convicted. So one of the bottom line questions here is whether Cristiani can really control the Salvadoran armed forces. But now, the murder of the Jesuits and their housekeeper has raised the ante, I think, and it doesn't seem likely that today's accusations will be enough to save El Salvador's aid without a trial. Bob?
Okay, thank you very much, Bill. In another development today, a Salvadoran leftist political leader has been found shot to death in Guatemala. A Guatemalan human rights lawyer also was killed. Opposition groups blame paramilitary death squads there. The victims were kidnapped yesterday on their way to the Guatemala City airport. And elsewhere in the region, the new U.S. ambassador to Panama, Dean Hinton, said that today he does not know how much U.S. aid Panama is going to receive, though it has reportedly asked for a reported $1.5 billion. The work goes on to uncover money siphoned off by the Noriega regime. And Jacqueline Adams has more on that.
The U.S. Army ferried Manuel Noriega's private jet to an American military base today as Panamanians continue to put the legacy of the dictator behind themselves. The new government here charges that Noriega's military raided $5 million a month from the National Treasury to finance a private slush fund. And CBS News has learned that tomorrow, Endara government accountants plan to announce another major find. Panama's last 8 presidents received $36.5 million in discretionary funds, but nobody knows what happened to it.
Noriega is in jail, so I don't want to be here. I want to change this thing.
Both Panamanian and American business leaders claim Noriega financed his paramilitary organization through drug money laundering, illegal arms sales, and extortion.
Just like gangsters, Al Capone, you pay his protection. And they were stealing from their own government. And it was the government military.
And in some cases, the corruption may even have been lethal. At the largest hospital in Panama City, doctors claim armed military officers stole $3 million worth of vitally needed medicine, then got kickbacks on the resupplies.
I think we should be able to sell some of those AK-47s and get some money back.
Beyond recovering the hundreds of millions of missing dollars, officials hope to send a signal that their new government is an honest one. They're going office to office, weeding out Noriega loyalists. And already some who've lost their jobs are crying foul. Overzealous reformers, the demonstrators charge, may be taking a page from Noriega's own book, punishing their enemies and rewarding their friends. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, Panama City.
Panama and El Salvador are just 2 of many countries getting or asking for U.S. aid. More on that will be coming up later on the news. And later in the broadcast, Bruce Morton on today's history-making inauguration.
So help me God. Congratulations. Thank you,
I remember when I was a young man, my father telling me about the Acoma Indians. Their culture and history were one of America's greatest glories. Well, now I got the time to see it for myself. Of course, affording it's another matter. I wasn't sure I could make it, but AARP helped with discounts on hotels, motels, even the car I rented. So here I am. And you know what? My father was right.
AARP, making a difference.
Bran muffins have more fiber than almost anything. Except prunes. Prunes, the high-fiber fruit.
You think my guys are going to be sidelined by a tough sinus cold? Not these, Grabowskis. The congestion, the pain, the sinus pressure, as tough as it gets. Maximum strength Tristan is tougher. Tristan unblocks congestion here. Sweeps away pressure here and here. Knocks out sinus pain. And it won't make you drowsy. That's important. When you're playing with bears, when you can't call in sick, call on Tristan. It's maximum strength relief.
You're telling me Total Raisin Bran has 4 times the vitamin nutrition of my Raisin Bran? And the question is, can I think of one reason why I shouldn't buy Total Raisin Bran?
Correct.
I should be buying Total Raisin Bran. What kind of a question is that?
Well,
Soviet President Gorbachev flew home to Moscow tonight from Lithuania, but hardly in triumph. Even a stunning offer to scrap the foundation of the Soviet political system failed to carry the day with Lithuanian nationalists. Barry Peterson has our report.
He was at times angry, and when pleading with the breakaway Communist Party, he was at times fatherly. Come back to the fold. But he saved the most dramatic concession for last. A question shouted from the floor. Would he allow multiple parties? I see no tragedy in a multiple-party system, said the man who once called such an idea rubbish. And to further repudiate 7 decades of communist one-party rule, he added, we should not be afraid of multiple parties the way the devil fears religion. It was an extraordinary offer, but this has been an extraordinary trip. Gorbachev desperately trying to patch up a Soviet Union on the verge of crumbling. And will his offer stop those leading the independence movement?
No, it's absolutely impossible.
This trip seems to have moderated Gorbachev's views. The word independence isn't quite so frightening to him now. But by all indications, he has failed in his efforts to change the minds of Lithuanians. Now, more than ever, they want out of the Soviet Union. And the Kremlin's authority slips more each day. People in Vilnius now tune into the first radio station not owned and operated by the Soviet government. It was allowed on the air by Lithuanian authorities. We didn't even ask Moscow's permission, said one organizer. We knew they would say no. And the roots of the independence movement stretch deep into the heartland. Even in the tiny villages, they talk with increasing confidence of a new day coming. Freedom, says this woman, is the most important thing anyone can have. As Gorbachev ended his visit tonight, protesters shouted, "Freedom for Lithuania."
And she can't understand our will to become free, to go out of empire.
One of the last things he heard were the jeers and the catcalls as his motorcade rushed out of town. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Vilnius.
More violence was reported tonight in Baku, the capital of Soviet Azerbaijan. Demonstrators reportedly attacked the homes of Armenians, killing at least 2 people. Nationalists continue to occupy government buildings in another Azerbaijani city. Romania's interim president today took back the decision to ban the Communist Party there and said the matter will now be put to a national vote. He also reportedly agreed to delay April scheduled elections to give parties more time to organize. In Timișoara, where last month's insurrection began, the army took over today after interim leaders quit. Betsy Aaron has our report on the upheaval there.
Communist Party membership cards are going up in flames all over Romania, the fire a sort of torch of democracy. And tonight on Romanian television, pictures of 5 enemies of the new Romania. In handcuffs, Nicolae and Elena Ceausescu's son, Valentin. And high-ranking members of the Securitate charged with giving orders to fire into crowds during the December Revolution. Today, outside government offices, there is increased security because the government and the public are uneasy, finding it difficult to trust each other. The newspaper Free Romania is calling for Vice President Dumitru Mazilu to resign.
He's a champion of the hypocrisy in politics.
Mazilu is not in trouble for being a communist. 1 out of every 3 adults in Romania was one. He's in trouble because he refused to tell this crowd about his communist past. But who in the present government is innocent? Which former communist is acceptable? At last night's rally, the government bowed to the wishes of the crowd and outlawed the Communist Party. Tonight, the government changed its mind and announced a referendum in 2 weeks to decide the future of the Communist Party. The new president of Romanian television fears things are happening too fast.
Otherwise, democracy itself is in danger. I don't think it's the way we should do it.
There is food in the shops. For the first time in years, Romanians can buy pork if they stand in line for it. But pork is not what this revolution is all about.
This front wants to buy us with some food, with a piece of liberty, with just a little bit of liberty. We don't want food. We want the liberty.
This is trial and error democracy, and Romanians are holding on to it because they believe their lives depend upon it. Betsy Aaron, CBS News, Bucharest.
Unrest may now be growing in communist Albania, Eastern Europe's last hardline holdout. A border guard who defected is reported today as saying there have been violent protests in at least 3 cities there. He claims troops fired on protesters in one city and hanged 4 students.
I'd look to give it about a 2. It's a little too plain Jane for my taste. There's no flash, no excitement. I mean, it's nothing but a bunch of flakes. This has personality. I like it. Makes up for the plain looks. Maybe that's the point. You know, looks can be deceiving.
Kellogg's cornflakes.
You impressed me with cornflakes?
Taste them again for the first time.
I just did something incredible. 5 minutes ago, I had gray hair, but now I don't. And this is what did it. New Option Instant from Clairol. The advanced way to get rid of the gray. Option Instant for men is different. With theirs, you have to pour and mix ingredients, but Option's the advanced way. All you need is this. It's so easy. And only 5 minutes later, your natural-looking color's back.
The hair feels thicker, too.
New Option Instant from Clairol. The advanced way to get rid of the gray.
My headaches are full-grown, adult-sized bangaroos, so I bang them back with Bear. It's strong. It's not an aspirin substitute. It's made for adults, just like you and me.
For adult-sized pain, Bayer, the wonder drug that works wonders.
Rich stain and tough polyurethane protection in one. Polyshades by Minwax. Get a beautiful finish in half the time. A finish to be proud of. Polyshades by Minwax.
On a blustery, sunny day in a city that was once the capital of the Confederacy, a grandson of slaves was sworn in today as the nation's first elected black governor. Bruce Morton is there, and here's his report.
I, Lawrence Douglas Wilder,
they made some history here today.
do solemnly swear.
Made history in Richmond, Virginia, capital of the Confederacy, where Robert E. Lee still keeps a vigil.
That I will faithfully
and impartially discharge all of the duties incumbent upon me as Governor of Virginia.
Retired Supreme Court Justice Lewis Powell administered the oath of office, and Douglas Wilder, grandson of slaves, became the first black elected governor of an American state ever.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much.
This is a great day for Virginia.
They made some history here today, and they knew it.
This is a historical event, and I wanted to see it. The words can't really explain how great of a feeling it is.
I wanted to be a part of it, and I wanted my children to be a part of it.
Why did it happen? Partly because Virginia has changed, become more urban, more high-tech, a middle Atlantic, not a deep South state. Partly because of Wilder himself, a moderate, running in an 80% white state as the mainstream candidate.
Moderate, unthreatening, bright. He was the logical Democratic candidate for governor and won. Not that surprising in retrospect, astonishing over the whole history.
Wilder himself thought some old Virginian ideas helped.
The idea that all men are created equal, that opposition and oppression can be lifted, that discrimination can be eliminated, that poverty need not be binding.
Virginians have made a lot of our history.
I am a son of Virginia. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Today, another Virginian made his mark here. His state and his country will never be quite the same again. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Richmond.
Wilder's inauguration comes as another black leader is stepping up his campaign for governor in another state in the heart of the South, and Eric Ingberg is there with that story.
Andrew Young would like to be the next Doug Wilder. The two-term Atlanta mayor is already campaigning hard for Georgia's Democratic gubernatorial nomination. But he starts as a much longer shot in a deep South state where experts say Young's race will be a major, if largely unspoken, issue.
The rural voters in Georgia, North Georgia, South Georgia voters, these are voters who have traditionally voted very conservatively in many of these statewide contests and who might have a hard time voting for a black candidate.
Young, former civil rights leader and congressman, hopes the Deep South's aversion to black candidates is history.
I think it's more of an opportunity for people of goodwill to say to the world, look, we're not what you've been saying we are.
The campaign leading up to the July primary is already hot with several contenders. Young talks up jobs and investment he brought to Atlanta. He distances himself from liberal thinking.
Now, I sort of lost faith in Washington's ability to meet challenges.
As the Atlanta candidate, Young also faces an anti-big city vote from rural Georgia. His opponents will likely hit him for Atlanta's crime problems.
Anyone who runs for public office in Georgia, where politics is pretty rough and tumble, is going to have to answer to their record.
Blacks are likely to compose 30% of the vote in the Democratic primary, and Young is regarded as a shoo-in to make the runoff. The question the political pros are asking is, can he attract enough white support in the more conservative parts of the state to stand a chance in the runoff?
Until we see bumper stickers for Andy Young on the back of pickup trucks that have a gun in the back seat, Andy Young won't be a viable candidate.
While Doug Wilder had no primary fight, Andy Young has a tough one, and the Republicans are already rubbing their hands at the prospect of facing a Democrat weakened by this kind of struggle. Eric Ingberg, CBS News, Atlanta.
The first of a weekend of parades and ceremonies around the country to commemorate the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was held today in San Diego. The second Monday in January has been designated to honor the late civil rights leader, and this year it falls on the 15th, which was King's actual birthday.
A cozy sweater, an old friend, and a tasty snack make a walk really special, particularly when the snack's fresh, moist, sun-sweet pitted prunes. Let taste be your guide, and you'll discover only one prune tastes sun-sweet.
This is new Hellman's cholesterol free.
Will I like it?
It has 0% cholesterol.
Will I like it?
It tastes 100% Hellman's.
I like it.
I knew you'd like it.
I knew I'd like it.
New Hellman's cholesterol free with half the fat. Bring out the best.
Yeah, I sure can. We have just about hourly flights here.
6th of October, United flight number 725.
Sure, I'd be happy. I'll help you with that. And your flight number?
Arriving in Tokyo at 5:10 p.m.
Both animals are also confirmed. You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Business class.
But I think you're
In a world fraught with phone frustration, people who fly come to learn of a singular exception, where wishes are granted with efficiency and grace.
Delafria Stokowitsky? Is that with an I or a Y?
United Airlines. Come fly the friendly skies.
Come on, Tyler. Hurry up, boy. Come on, Tyler.
When it's cold and rough outside,
Come on, Tyler.
try something warm and creamy inside. Cream of wheat hot cereal or Instant Mix and Eat. Their smooth texture always lets the taste come through.
Again?
2 warm ways to come in from the cold.
The administration's feeling that Panama is going to need a massive infusion of economic aid, a subject we touched on earlier in the broadcast, has reopened one of Washington's touchiest topics, and that's tonight's page from the Washington Notebook. Where does the money come from when other countries need help?
Żyją również w dalekiej Polsce.
First there was Poland with a desperate call for economic assistance. Then as one communist regime after another fell, it was all of Eastern Europe looking to the West for help, looking to the United States for money. And now there is Panama that's looking north for a little help, or more accurately, a whole lot of help.
We're hoping to get a significant cooperation from the United States in doing this.
Maybe so in the days after World War II when America could rebuild Europe and Japan. But these days, that kind of statement draws this kind of response in Washington.
We're fresh out of cash here in the United States with regard to foreign aid or many other programs.
Foreign aid generates some of the fiercest debates in Washington. With relative peace abroad, many Americans have preferred to see their government's money spent at home.
I think it's probably safe to say it is the most unpopular part of the federal budget.
This year, we will spend $14.5 billion on foreign aid, most of it for countries that help us strategically. Countries such as Egypt and Israel, which get more than a third of the outlay. Only $500 million will be funneled to Poland and the newly emerging democracies of Eastern Europe.
It's larger countries and countries that have a built-in constituency in the United States, like Poland, for example, or Israel, that are going to get the lion's share of aid.
With those obligations, there is little left over for new projects like the aid the president now hopes to funnel to Panama.
We simply have too many unmet priorities here in the United States, long neglected items like our infrastructure, education, health care, and then we have a little thing called the federal budget deficit.
With a larger and larger share of the tax dollar needed just to pay interest on the deficit, money for new foreign aid projects must be carved out of existing ones.
We have to take it from other areas. We're having to take it from Central America. We have to take it from the Philippines. We are taking it from South Asia.
Already, third world countries are complaining that places like Africa will suffer the most.
We have to make sure that we responsibly respond to the problems that beset this continent, and we haven't done that.
In the case of Panama, the administration hopes to find some of the money through private investment. But even though our hearts go out to scenes like this, it is becoming harder and harder for the United States to offer much more than sympathy. We no longer have the money. So what we're coming to understand is that failure to come to grips with our own economic problems not only threatens our standard of living in the future, it has already lessened our ability to help others and reduced our ability to influence events beyond our borders.
It's hard to face the day, but he knows your favorite way. Folger's starting to brew, the aroma's calling you.
Wake up with Mountain Grown Folgers decaffeinated. Mountain Grown coffee has a more enticing aroma and richer flavor. And it's decaffeinated?
The best part of waking up, good morning, it's Folgers in your cup.
You know, you read this and you think, this is the Surgeon General, I should listen to this stuff. But all this low-fat fiber?
What are they really telling you? It's like they tell you how, but who's going to tell you what?
One way to start your diet is new Kellogg's Heartwise. More soluble fiber than Oat Bran, and a taste you'll actually enjoy. Heartwise.
You know, I know a bowl of cereal isn't all there is to it, but at least it's something I can put my hands on. Somewhere to start.
Take a word to the wise.
To my beautiful wife.
It's nice to know he still loves the way you look. And if you wear dentures, you can count on Effordent to freshen up dentures and clean away stains so well. With Effordent, all he'll notice is you.
I was eating a cheeseburger when I saw I had a runaway car. It was a Maalox moment. Thank heaven Maalox Plus is so strong.
Easy, boys. She's purring like a kitten.
Maalox Plus, strong relief for all your Maalox moments.
The Columbia astronauts held a news conference in orbit today. Their rescue of a space laboratory has NASA scientists walking on air, and Bruce Hall reports.
After a day's analysis, scientists say the rescued LDEF satellite is providing priceless data on extended stays in a space environment.
Well, I think the thing that surprised us the most was the damage on the space end of spacecraft. And so we're anxious to see it up close and understand a little about what happened.
Getting it back in one piece is not going to be easy.
There are some pretty flimsy pieces hanging on there yet, mostly the thin foils, and we may lose them, but I'm hoping the photo survey will give us enough information to know what it looked like before we put it in the payload bay.
Scientists say LDEF apparently was bombarded by space debris.
These materials that are on LDEF have been in space longer than a round trip to Mars, for example. So it gives you some indication of the impact of meteors, the impact of solar radiation.
The astronauts also got a look at the impact of lightning from high above South America.
The lightning storms are pretty incredible to see lightning that extends over a period of several miles, and it's pretty interesting.
The astronauts spent much of the day going through medical experiments as Columbia sailed through space.
You know, I can't say good enough things about Columbia. She is just a super ship this time. She is really running well for us.
And the congratulatory messages on LDEF keep rolling in.
Hello, LDEF, well, hello, LDEF. It's so nice to have you back where you belong.
Bruce Hall, CBS News, Johnson Space Center.
That's the news. Coming up on Saturday night with Connie Chung, the Stewart murder-suicide case in Boston. I'm Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Good night.
Everett and the Rams, Montana and the Niners. The battle for NFC Championship glory. Tomorrow.
This is CBS.
Imagine owning this rich hunt scene framed in classic gold, a striking abstract in a lacquer frame, or a beautiful landscape set in solid oak. This Sunday only at our first sale of the new year, Collector's Art will offer gallery-quality oil paintings at prices you've never dreamed possible. Plus over 2,000 paintings like you see here to be sold out from $17 to $39. $39! Incredible! Don't miss Collector's Art this Sunday only, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Springfield at the Holiday Inn, in Tyson's Corner at the Marriott, in Bethesda at the Marriott, and in New Carrollton at the Sheraton.
Introducing Advanced Action Whisk. Ring around the collar was just the beginning.